what's going on, everybody? And today I have a special guest with me, somebody who's been a long time friend, mentor, somebody who's influenced me in so many ways, and is just has just been somebody inspirational. And Albert Preciado.
Hey, brother, thank you. I'm excited to get into this deep conversation and more so to give value to everybody watching this, because I think a lot of people can learn from both of our experiences.
I agree, brother. I agree. And I just want to start off with just saying that thank you so much for giving me the time to be able to interview and everything, and kind of talk about our story and kind of what led up to why I'm here and where it came from. And I want to go back to Driven One. I didn't know who you were. I had a friend at that time who did real estate, and I remember him telling me, "Hey, I got a general ticket. You want to go?" And I think it was at the JW Marriott, right?
Yeah.
Where you had the first event. And he told me your name. He was like, "Oh, you got to check out this guy Albert. He's throwing this event." And I was like, "Who is that?" And then he mentioned Grant Cardone, and he was like, "Hey, bro, Grant Cardone's gonna be there." And I was like, "Shit!" And I remember at that time, I mean, Grant's up there, but like at that time, he was growing. His name was everywhere, and I was like, "I'm there, bro. I'm there." And I remember going there and looking forward to hearing him speak. And then I remember hearing you speak, and I was like, and I think you had like your story of everything that you've gone through, you know what I mean, and your ups and downs and the crash and everything. And I was like, who is this cat? You know what I mean? Who is this Latino successful gentleman who's up there, who's just really put this together, and how does he know these people? You know what I mean? And I kind of want to talk about, because I wanted to ask you, like, in that time, you mentioned in your stories over the years that there was a lot of struggle in that. It took a lot to put up that event, correct?
Yeah.
How did that go about, and what inspired you to throw that event, that first one?
Well, I was struggling like big. I was making good money, but I was spending more. So like when I was making 1 million, 1.8 million, I was spending more than that. And I used credit card money. And then a lot of people were saying, like, he's living paycheck to paycheck. This guy's leasing his cars. This guy's doing this, that. And they were right. Like, they were right. But the only thing they did was they were just giving me more fire. Like, they were just driving me more. Like, I was getting more driven just to prove them wrong. But I knew that I needed to take a big risk in order to grow. If not, I was always going to stay stuck at the same place. So when I went to the Grant Cardone seminar, I kept asking, because Grant Cardone was a big mentor in the beginning stage, and I was very close to him. And I always told him, like, what do I have to do to speak on stage? Because I always wanted to speak on stage. I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to, I don't know why I wanted to do it, because it's also scary when you go on stage and there's a lot of people. So, and I was never a great speaker. Like, I always had an accent because I'm Mexican. So I believe that, like, I wasn't supposed to be there, but I wanted to be there. Like, I like teaching people. I like helping people. I like winning. So I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a celebrity, and I wanted people to know who I was. And I kept asking Grant, what do I have to do to speak on stage? And he would say, well, you got to reach this goal. And then I would reach that goal. And then it still wasn't enough. What do I have to do, Grant? You got to do this. Okay, let me do that. Then again, what do I have to do? I'm not speaking again. Well, you got to. It's not only about making money. You got to be known, because you got to help sell tickets. If even if you have a business and you're successful, if you don't have influence, if you don't have a following, then you're not going to be a speaker, because you're not going to sell tickets. So it's not only about money. You got to have a following. So long story short, I got tired of waiting, and I kind of said, you know what, Grant, I can't wait, and I created my own event. So I said, if I can't speak on your stage, before him, another speaker, a mortgage coach, Todd Duncan, same thing. He wouldn't put me on stage, and nothing bad about them, by the way. I love Grant Cardone, and if Grant Cardone sees this, like I look up to you. You're very accomplished, and I have nothing but great things to say about Grant and Todd Duncan. But they just never give me the opportunity, and maybe I wasn't ready. So because of that, I decided to create my own stage, and I self-funded my own event, and I asked a buddy if he could go 50-50 with me to start the event, because I told him the only way we're going to grow our mortgage company and real estate company is if we are known, if we become celebrities, if we are in the event space and we have thousands of people watching us. And my friend didn't want to do it. He was just scared. He didn't think I was a speaker. He said I don't have experience. It's too risky. So I just went home after that seminar, and after speaking with my friend, and I told Sil, hey, we got to start an event. Like we got to start it. And I remember that Grant started. His first event he planned it in 3 months. So I told Sil we're gonna have it in 3 months, because she asked me when. I said in 3 months, in September. So we did that. We planned it 3 months. We didn't have any money. I told Sil, let me just take a shower really quick and let me think about the event. And I was listening to Patrick Bet-David, and there was a video, and he kept on saying the word drive, and just drive, 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 drive. So when I came out, I just told my wife, Sil, we're gonna create an event. It's gonna be called Driven. We're having it at the Ritz, and we're gonna make it happen. And she thought I was crazy, but I just committed. And then I didn't have any money, so I used my credit card to send Grant 25K, and then to also give the Ritz 25K. And then I booked Grant for my first event, because I knew he would sell the tickets. Because I learned I learn a lot. Like, I listen. So Grant said, you need a following. So I know Grant has a following, so I would bring him to the first event so that he could help me sell tickets, and then his audience will fall in love with me, and then I would capture that audience, and I would start there with the whole event and creating my personal brand. And that's how it all started. And the event, I didn't have money, so I sold tickets to pay for the event. And then even to the moment where Elena Cardone is speaking and then Grant speaking next, I owe 26 grand. And they threatened me, like, we're going to cut the cord if you don't pay the 26 grand. I don't have the 26 grand. So, like, Sil went and she spoke to the AV team, and she convinced them, hey, we're going to pay it next week. Just let's finish the show. Don't cut the cord. They didn't cut the cord. Elena Cardone spoke. Then Grant went up, and then Grant introduced me. I spoke last. And it was my first time speaking, like, in front of we had like 500 people, 500, 600 people. And that was the first Driven, and it happened. And I was in so much debt, like I was in. And I remember even crazier story when we had the second one. But it's always been like that, Edwin. So when you don't take risks, you don't have big rewards, and you just can't give up, and you can't quit. You gotta invest money to grow. So that's how it started, and it was quite an experience.
That's amazing, man. And I've noticed, I know that a lot of the things that you always said, like, you've always wanted to tap into, like, the Hispanic community and help us out and grow. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here and why I got so inspired to meet you. I remember after that event, you were doing one-on-one coaching, and it was like 3 hours. At that time, it was a great deal. It was like 3 hours of your time for $5,000.
Yeah.
Looking back now, man, I wish I would have bought a dozen, But I remember being like, I got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you were so inspirational. The fact that you were Hispanic and you were just ambitious, and, like, you're a very ballsy person, man. Since I've known you, like, everything that you've done, you haven't given a shit. You've always been like, you grab your balls and you just jump and you just do what you got to do. And even though, like, you've gone through all these ups and downs, and now you talk about the stories that nobody knew back then at that time, how much you were struggling, or you were in debt, or you almost went out of business, but you overcame those things, has been huge and very inspirational to me. And going back to you saying, like, you got to be very brave, like, that wasn't your first hurdle. Like, you still had the second Driven and the third Driven. Did you also experience challenges on those?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. Some money came. I got some money, like, right before the second Driven, so Driven 18.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of money that came in, but I have bills next Friday. But I got a little money that came in, and I said, well, I have to act like I'm doing better. Like, I just have to show, for marketing purposes, I can't show up to the second Driven. Like, and this is gonna be a funny story, but it's a real story, and it actually helped me a lot. I can't show up to the second Driven with the same watch, with the same car. Like, I need to improve. Like, I gotta show them that I'm actually, like, winning, that I'm getting better. And so I remember a day before Driven 18, a day before Driven, the second Driven, Patrick came to Driven 2. Patrick spoke at Driven 2. I think I had Ty Lopez, I had Tim Grover, and so I went overboard, and I paid all these speakers a lot of money to come speak, because I wanted to show everybody we're moving up. We're moving up. And I'm so in debt again. And because we would make some money from Driven, and then we would get into more debt for the next one because we always wanted to make it better. And so I remember that a day before, we're already in debt, and I have a little money that came in, and I go to the watch store next, like a block away from here, 2 blocks away from here, and I go there and I see this AP watch. So I see the AP watch and a gold AP watch, and I had a Rolex. I had a Rolex before that one, and I said I had a gold Rolex, and I say like I'm gonna get this gold AP watch because I gotta go to Driven 18, second Driven. I gotta show people like, hey, I got a new car. And so I remember we had the 488 because we started with the 458, and then we had a 488, then we got the convertible, the Rolls Royce actually, and I went and I got that watch. And then I show up to Driven 18, and I'm wearing that watch. And I remember that Brad comes up to me and he's like, "Fucker, what you get? You got a new watch." But back then, like not a lot of people had those kind of watches. And I show up to the Driven event with a new watch, and I'm scared to tell Sil because I know Sil's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like you shouldn't be doing that," because we weren't supposed to add Tim Grover. But last minute, I said, we're going to add Tim Grover because we got to over-deliver. Patrick's not enough. Grant Cardone's not enough. We got to over-deliver. So we added Tim Grover, Ty Lopez. It was crazy. So I show up, and then my wife sees the watch, and she says, "What the hell did you do?" And I'm like, "Babe, believe me, like it's I'm gonna make so many sales here. We're gonna scale like you have no idea. We're gonna get so much attention, and we're gonna get so many recruits because people are gonna be like, damn, Albert." And all of that, Edwin, I did it because I wanted to build my personal brand, because I remember that how painful it was when Grant told me like you can't speak because even though you make a lot of money, nobody knows you. And I said, well, fuck, man, like people need to know me. How are they gonna know me? So all of that stuff that I did, it was because I wanted to put myself out there, and I wanted people to see like, man, he is successful. Because in today's world, if you want to market, if you want to get a lot of eyeballs, you got to get attention. And how do you get attention? What are people right now like into? Like people are into like when they see somebody has a nice watch, a nice car, that's marketing. Wes Watson talks about it all the time. Yeah. Like, why do I have an SF90? Like, I don't need an SF90. A 458 or 488 or the Tributo is just enough. But why? Because I want to stand out. Like I want to show the world what's possible. I want people to be like, damn, you know what? This guy is winning. And it's all marketing. If you don't market right now, it doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter how much experience you have. If nobody knows you, nobody pays you. So that's why I did all that stuff, and it worked out. Like I was telling you earlier, before we started, that I remember when $5,000 a month for my first office, where you went there and you were detailing my cars. Yeah. How hard it was to make that payment. And then we added 3 more suites in the building across the street, and now it was $15,000 combined for all 3. And I remember how hard it was to pay that. Now we pay $100,000 a month here, and we still have those offices, and you just level up. It forces you to be better. It forces you to be more efficient with your time. So you got to take risks if you want to grow. If not, you're going to be stuck.
Do you think, like now looking back, do you think that's just how you work? And most entrepreneurs were like, they'll take a big bite of something, but they believe in themselves so much that they know they'll make it through? Or how do you think it, or do you think people think differently for the most part? Like, for example, for yourself, it seems like everything that you've done has been you take a leap of something that you don't know how you got to figure it out, but you end up doing it. Are most entrepreneurs like that? Or
I think the ones that make it big,
yeah,
yes. But most people, like when times get a little bit tough, like in 2008, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a break from mortgages. I'm going to get out of the mortgage industry, and I'm going to go try something else. And then when times get easy, they get back in it. And right now, that's where a lot of people are having difficulties, because one thing that I live by is you focus on only the things you could control, not on the things you can't control. Like you could control how you react to this market, but you can't control that the market is going bad. If 5.9 million homes sold last year, which that's what happened, and only 4.1 million are going to sell this year, that's what's happening right now. So there's less homes. And why would somebody buy a house right now when property values might go down? Why would people refinance right now or even sell their home to buy another house when right now they refinanced in 2021 and they have a 2% interest rate? Why would they refinance their 2% interest rate and then get a 7%? Why would they sell their home where they have a 2% to buy another house at a 7%? It just doesn't make sense. So the good news is that 60,000 realtors quit so far year to date. So that means that every 3 minutes a realtor is quitting. So there's less homes to sell, but there's also no competition. So in today's world, it's really exposing people that were the pretenders to the people that were the true players. So you see somebody like Albert, somebody like you've been in the game for the longest. Like I remember when I met you, at first I'm like, who's this Edwin guy? I don't know Edwin. And then I became a client, you became a client, we became friends. And then throughout the years, even like years later, you stopped talking to me, you unfollowed me for some reasons.
Yeah.
You could talk about that, but and then you started following me back, because I think what happened is you realized, like, wait, I got to pay attention and I got to watch the source of my advice. Why are these people talking bad about Albert? All these people that are talking bad about Albert are people that left him, people that got fired, people that quit. So all these people that left Albert are the ones that are talking bad about him. Just the people that for some reason or another it didn't work out for them. But now they're all friends and they're just talking negative about Albert. Like Albert, I see him leveling up every year. Every year he's doing better and new people are coming in. Some people get out, more people come in. And I see Albert like, wait, it doesn't make any sense. These people are talking shit about Albert, but these people are all struggling. Some of them are unethical. Some of them are negative. Some of them are toxic. And they're just talking shit about him. But Albert is like best friends with Brad Lee. Albert is friends with Patrick. Albert is friends with all these other people. Like now like Wes Watson, Eric Spofford, Wires Only. You see like, why are all these people like inviting Albert to their homes? Like Oscar de la Hoya, Jimmy Humilde that I was with not too long ago. But all these people are with Albert and they're talking good things about Albert. But all these people, or a few of these people are saying negative things, but those people are not doing good. Why would I listen to them when all these people that are very successful are all around Albert? Some things things are not making sense. So that's where I see, like, you know what? When somebody has a track record and somebody has been winning for not only 1 year, but 5 years, but 10 years, and they're still around and they're still winning, they're doing good. Like those people that have a track record, those are the people that I want to be around. And those are the people that I want to listen and take advice from, not the other people that are not doing good. They're not doing good for a reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's what happened in the beginning. I remember of just being very inspired by you and everything that you were teaching people. And I've learned over the years that one thing, and it was a post that you did, and I think you were on a private plane with Sil, and I think it was your kids, and you weren't speaking, it was just a picture, but in the bottom there's a part that said that the people that you start with, majority of them, you don't end up in the end. You know what I mean? In the process, they fall out and all that. And that was something that I didn't know in the beginning. I thought that, hey man, like we're buddies, we're gonna do it all the way. But as you continue to grow, there's people that either plateau, either fall out, either stop working on themselves, lose inspiration and everything, and they feel, well, I've seen it now in firsthand with people in my company, and having either detailers or anybody in my other businesses, that they think that you have to continue to wait for them and be loyal to them and like stay with them and like like not be able to move out without them, you know what I mean? And so they turn on you, they start talking shit, they start they go to other companies, they go to the competitors, they start running their mouth. But it's the same type of group that sticks together, that they all have that same bond of common shit, that they just talk about people. You know what I mean? So going back to our relationship, like there were some people that influenced me and they told me like, you know what, this and this is why I'm not working with him, this and that. And I was like, really? because I thought you guys were pretty close and all that, and I kind of fell into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just so much. It wasn't so much people in the company. It was just people outside of it that were also successful in their own atmosphere. And so I was all like, man, well, why would these people mislead me and tell me that? Maybe they know something that I don't know, you know? And it turned out that it wasn't that. Those people didn't even want to help me. And I was like, all right, well, if you don't want me to listen to Albert or do this, well, can you help me? Can you guide me? Can you tell me? And they're, oh, I don't have time. Or I can't help you. I can't do this. And I'm like, well, shit, dude. This guy's continuing to give information. This guy's continuing to put out information to help people, help people rise up and all that. And like, you ain't giving me anything, you know? So anyways, I took some time and I just continued. I went back and I just started looking at your content and everything. And I'm like, this fucking guy's consistent. He doesn't stop. He keeps helping people. He keeps inspiring people. And I'm like, there has to be something wrong here. And I don't know if you remember, but I sent you this text and I sent you this long apology saying like, hey, look, this is what happened. Da, 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 da. And you responded back and you said, don't trip, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Shit happens and all this, you know? And from that moment on, like, it continued. Like, as I grew in business, I started noticing in my business.
Yeah.
I started noticing people were unloyal, unethical, thieves, going behind my back, stealing my customers, doing all this. And then the shit that I would teach them, they would go back and they would use it because it helped, right, for them to succeed. But it was the shit that I taught them. And at the end of the day, they were just very unloyal, you know? And ever since I made that turn and that switch, and I'm like, shit, this happens in every industry.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Yeah. And I believe a lot in karma. To add to what you said, karma always takes care of what's right and what's wrong. I believe in God. You know, I think it's a no-brainer that God has been taking care of me because he has something big planned for me, and he wants me to, like, my purpose is to change lives. Like, not like, I don't focus on making money. I focus on helping people. When you believe in your product so much, like, it's unethical for you not to sell it. So when I'm selling and I'm being aggressive and all that, and I'm collecting money, it's because I believe in my product so much. And I believe that it's unethical if I don't sell it to people because it's going to help people. I know that makes sense to some people and then doesn't make sense to other people, but that's what I do. Like, when, like, I have for example, I have all the people that came to the company, for the most part, came from me because they follow me on social media. They come to the Driven events. They come to my Driven mastermind. So they came because of me. And then what I did is I got these people and I referred them out to different branches that I had. So, you know, I had different branches in different cities. So I sent a few people to certain branches. And then these branch managers, their ego got in the way and they became selfish. And then they said, well, you know what? I can do it better than Albert. And some of these people had their wives and their girlfriends like going, like, making them go like this. You're better. You should be better. Leave Albert. You like, and so they did that. And then what happened is now all of their top people are coming back to us. Last week, we just took 2 people back from some of these people. And now, and these people that came, they were half of their production. So what does that tell you? Why would they go there? And after a year, they're like, hey, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Like, this is not leadership. I'm not getting any mentorship here. And then they find out and they come back. So a lot of these, and I'm only taking the good people back because there were people that were unethical. Like, we don't take people that are unethical back. But some of these people that were new, they came in, they're stars, you know, they made a mistake. Of course, everybody deserves a second chance, but a lot of these people now are reaching out. Like, I would say 90% of them are reaching out that they want to come back. And some people I've had to say, no, like, you can't come back. I'm sorry. You did unethical things and you're going to do them again. But we're taking a lot of people back, but only the people that fit our core values.
Got it. And then in the beginning, when that happened to you, did it hurt you? Like, people that did you dirty, unethical stuff, turned their back on you, left you and stuff like that. In the beginning, did it hurt you, and does it still hurt you, or were you always like, who gives a shit?
You know what? I didn't even feel it.
Really?
It didn't hurt me. I think in the when we had a conversation, because, you know, there was a few people that they had the decency to talk to me one-on-one, and I respect that. But they were misled by people, and a lot of the times it comes from your girl, like from your wife or your girlfriend, or it could be your boyfriend or your husband. Like, if you don't have a strong partner, that has a growth mindset, then it's gonna really affect you in life because they're gonna hold you down. And you like your wife sometimes is not the most business savvy person. So if you take advice from your wife about business and she's not business savvy, she's gonna mislead you. And same thing with a husband. It could be the same. It's the same way, husband or wife. But when they told me, when I found out, maybe for like an hour, I was kind of bothered. I'm like, well, what did I do wrong, or how can I avoid this? I can't believe it. I thought this person was different. And maybe for an hour, yeah, I was a little bothered. But after that hour, I shift because I gotta bounce back. Now I gotta make up for that loss, because regardless whether they're bad or good people, maybe I just lost 5 deals in a month, right? So now I have to recruit more. So the secret is always recruit. You never stop recruiting, and as long as you keep recruiting, you're gonna get 10 people, 9 of them are gonna be good, 1 of them is gonna be bad. So that's why you have to have a very good filter process, where when you find people that they don't have your core values, then they gotta go.
Got it. I noticed that something that we started using for our hiring was the culture index. You guys use that as well, right?
The culture index?
Yeah, like the personality where you.
Oh yeah.
I think it was one of your lives.
We do a bunch of tests.
How has that worked for you and your benefit for your businesses and all that when it comes out to hiring?
It works good, but it's not everything. Like you really don't find people's true colors until I mean, some take weeks, some take months, some take years, and some even take 5 years. And sometimes people show their true colors until times get tough. When time gets really, really tough, that's when they show their true colors. But you and me and people like Patrick, right? Like we don't have time to let our emotions get in business, because you don't win in business with emotions. And for example, like even when a year ago, I had a robbery that happened downstairs.
Yeah.
And I had a gun here and a gun here, ski masks, like they had face masks, and they wanted to take my watch. They couldn't even take it off, so I took it off for them and gave it to them. But they could have shot me. I had a gun loaded on me. I mean, I don't know if it was loaded or not, but just imagine, what if they would have shot me? Like my life could have ended right there. So that's why I'm like, damn, God's watching me. And not only that, a week later from that, we find out that Sale's pregnant with Callie, who's now 4 months. So it's crazy how things happen. And that's why, like, I'm always like, we got to do the ethical. We're ethicals are number one core value. So we always have to do the right thing no matter what. Even if we lose money, we got to do the right thing. And because it's always going to come back to you. And guess what I did after the robbery, after the incident? Like when they took the watch. 5 minutes later, I was up at the gym working out. I was here at my gym working out because the cops got there, 5 minutes late. They got there and they're like, we got to take a report. And I told the cop, hey, let's do it in my office. I'm in the 6th floor. I have a gym there. I got to work out. I got to get my workout in because we have training at 12 and I have to be at training. I have to train my people. And they were looking at me like crazy, like, dude, you almost got shot. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't. And I'm focused. Business comes first. I gotta take care of my family. I gotta take care of my people. I gotta get my workout in. And then because I only have a limited time left so that I can get my workout in and be at the training at 12. So that was when, after like a few minutes after the incident, where my heart's going like, could have been my last day on earth.
Yeah.
All I could think of is I gotta get my workout in because I gotta go to the training. And that's the mentality you gotta have in business to win. Cold-blooded.
That's great. Have you always been like that, even as a child? Like ambitious?
Yeah.
Stuff? Did you like sell stuff? Anything like that? It was like entrepreneur. I know as a child I did.
Yeah.
I would sell my toys.
I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Like because since I was 6, I used to go with my dad to paint. So we used to paint homes in Beverly Hills and Bel Air, and that's where I saw the Ferraris, and that's where I saw the mansions, and that's why I challenged my dad and I asked him, Dad, how come we don't have this? And he told me it's not for us. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it's not for us. And then I challenged him, and then he told me, like, well, if you work really hard and you never quit, then maybe it could be for you. And from there on, I just wanted to be the best. I wanted to have those things. So I think it's very good as a kid to get a little taste. That's why, like, my people, I like taking them on the private jet. I like lending them the Ferrari. I like showing them the good life, the good things in life, because that motivates them. And sometimes all you need is just to get a little taste, and you're like, this is what I want. But the problem is that, and the sad part is that most people won't work for it because it's a lot of work. Like it's being an entrepreneur is like being in the army. It's the most dangerous thing you could ever do. You could get a heart attack at any moment. So it's something very serious. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's why when people want to go there and start their own thing, I'm like, good luck, buddy. Like prepare to battle heart attacks, prepare to get turn purple, not be able to swallow your food, prepare to like faint a few times, prepare to like end up in RE like a lot of times, because it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Why do you think it is? Because you have siblings, right? Why do you think, and I do as well.
I have one brother.
So why do you think it is? And I'm not sure yours, but at least for my family, like I feel like I was the one who raised up, right? Everybody else kind of made different decisions, whether they have jobs and all that. Why do you think it is? If we all grew up in the same household and we had the same struggles, why do you think it is that not everybody gets that same drive and everything like that? And I don't know about yours, but at least my siblings didn't have that, and they don't have that, where they have that ambitious to grow and to take advantage of being here in America and just giving it your all and just grabbing as much as you can while you're here.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody, but like for example, me, I based on my experience, like I was the first child, and my parents like they only spoke Spanish. My mom didn't speak English, and she'll watch this and she'll get mad because she doesn't like me to say those things. But I love my mom, and my dad, love him. Like they're the best things that have happened to me in my life. They taught me so much. Great role models. They never drank. They never did drugs. They all their money, all their work was for me and my brother. But my dad didn't. He spoke English with a lot of accent. He had a big accent, but they taught me Spanish. That's all they could teach me, Spanish. And I was the first child. So my mom decided to send me to bus me to school. So I used to take that yellow school bus when I was 6, and I used to go to the Valley because they wanted me to go to the Valley to Granada Hills because that was a safer neighborhood. So what they didn't think about was that they only taught me Spanish, and they're sending me to the Granada Hills, where back in the day, I'm talking about 1990, everybody in the Granada Hills is white. Like everybody, like my school, I went to Daniel Elementary School, everybody was white. So 99% of the students and teachers were white. Like freckles, blonde hair, they were just all white. And I was one of the only Mexican kids, minorities. So I get there, and it was rough from the moment I left the bus. And my parents, Mexican parents, like I think all the Latinos, like Salvadorians, Guatemalans, Colombians, wherever you're from, all Latinos, they're very, very overprotective of their kids. So like they're always protecting you, like be careful, don't touch that, that's dangerous, and you grow up like that, and they're always overprotecting you. And so when I got on that bus, it was my first time without my parents, without their protection. So I'm there, and the first ride, a bully gets me on the headlock. Okay. So I'm like crying because I can't speak English. They're getting me on the headlock. They're punking me. I get to school, and they put me in a special ed class because they're like, something's wrong with this kid. Like this kid is he needs special help. Like so I ended up in special ed class. And then I saw and I was there, and I remember that I'm with the special ed students, and I remember that I'm crying, and I'm like, I'm not a special ed student. Like I don't belong in this classroom, and I'm not special ed, and I couldn't even express myself because I didn't speak English. So it was it was very painful. So then after a few weeks, they realized, wait, this kid doesn't know how to speak English. That's his issue. So they put me in an ESL class, and then that's where I started learning English little by little. And that was my start when I was 6, just going to elementary school. Then I went to Porter Middle School. Then I went to Kennedy High School. But it was always a fight for me. So I had to learn to protect myself and fight back. Made me a fighter. And then the combination of me wanting to go with my dad to work, summer school and holidays, I would go work with him, and I would see the Ferraris. I would see the Bel Air homes, and I don't know if that was a combination, but I definitely think that being the first child, it forced me to figure things out. And for example, when my brother had me, and I was like his role model, but my brother, like when he was growing up, like I had the new Mercedes, I was in real estate, I was making money, and so he got to see that. And me, I had to like figure things out, and I didn't have a mentor. And like I was also the not the best influence for my brother, because I also, like, when I started in real estate, I started doing drugs. Like I did cocaine, I got DUIs. I was going out with a bunch of different girls all the time. Like I had a place to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I made a lot of mistakes. So I think in that way, maybe I could have also affected my brother in a bad way. So that was me. That's how it happened to me. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the reason. But everybody, it's different for everybody.
So do you think the advantage of you having it rough is possibly a big contribution of your success and why you are the way you are, as opposed
100%.
to our siblings?
100%. And that's why, like, one of the biggest mistakes that parents make is being overprotective of their kids. And I think it's hard though, because like me and Sil fall victim to that. Like, we want to give our girls everything, but at the same time we got to make them fight. Like, we got to make them fighters. They need to be able to defend themselves. So it's just, when you're a parent, business owner, and you have all these things going on, it's just a lot.
So how do you think, because we grow up, right, and we automatically want to give our kids the best life, and it just tends to fall that way, how do you think you you prepare your kids to be rough and to be tough and to know that, hey, yeah, you're growing up this way, but also there's a nasty life out there, and one day we're going to pass away, you know what I mean, and leave everything to our children.
Yeah.
How do you think now you approach that? Because it has to be different. You're not going to take them to the ghetto and be like, hey, you're going to eat this and that, right?
Yeah.
So how do you prepare your children right now for this life, for them to take over when they grow up and to succeed?
Yeah. The way me and Sil do it is we lead by example. So we bring our kids. So our kids are experiencing a different life, because nowadays, like, the school system is different. Now, like, kids require X amount of vaccines. If not, they don't take them in schools. And so for us, like, we don't believe in vaccines. Like, all our girls have 0 vaccines. They're not vaccinated, and they can't go to school. So when Italia, it took her a little long to get her in school, but she's very smart. So what we did is, when people say money is not important, it is very important. So because we work hard and we lead by example, like, we were able to get her a private teacher. So there's a teacher that goes to our home, and we also moved to Bel Air, which is gated. It's a gated community because they broke into our home in Truesdale Estates in Beverly Hills. They broke into our house, 4 robbers, with guns. Also, my dad was going to spend the night. Thank God he didn't, because he's safe. Yeah. But if he would have stayed, he would have probably got something could have happened to him. And they were after a $500,000 watch, which they took. So, and they didn't find the papers. I still have the papers. Mm. So it's crazy, but, like, in the world that we live, like you said, it is a very dangerous world. Like, we were forced to move out of Beverly Hills into Bel Air. We were forced to get security. We were forced to get this whole floor, like this whole floor, $100,000 a month in the Sunset Towers building. Like, we probably don't need all this floor right now. We will, but, like, I took a big, I took a big risk and got this entire floor, and when maybe it wasn't the best financial decision to make. But one of the big reasons why I decided to get this floor is because of security, because I want to make sure that my daughters are safe when I bring them. I want to make sure that I'm safe, that Sil's safe, and I had to do it. And it's crazy, when you become more wealthy and more successful, you get attacked more. So all of these decisions we had to make. Like, I remember that we started flying private, not because we wanted to show off, but we started flying private because they mistreated us, and they were telling my daughter, you got to put your mask on. And my daughter was 2 years old, Italia. and they forced us, and I couldn't do anything. Like I felt like that, like I didn't have any freedom. And they said, we're gonna kick you out of the plane. So they were treating my daughter bad, and they were telling, you got to put your mask on, you got to put your mask on. And my daughter, being so little, she was like 2.5. She's like, Dad, I'll put it on, like, but I'll fake it. Like when they leave, I'll put it down, but when they come, I'll put it up. And I'm like, okay. But I felt so bad. I told Sil, we're never again flying commercial. Like we're flying private with our own rules, and we're gonna do that. And same thing when all these vaccines came into the world, and kids have to get all these vaccines. Like in 1983, you only needed a few vaccines. Now you need all these like 74 vaccines by the time you're X amount of years. So that's why we didn't put him in regular school. And now a teacher comes to school. But my daughters, they have school holidays, after hours. They have a weird schedule. So like it's funny because her first day of school was Memorial Day. No. And that's when all her cousins had a day off from school. So they were all free. And Natalia was like, oh, it's my first day of school. But it was Memorial Day. And then they have school Saturdays and Sundays. And we put them through the school system. If anybody wants to know about, I could share it later, but they don't require vaccines. We have a private teacher. It costs us money, obviously, but they're going to get all the credits to get their high school diploma and all the requirements. But I'm already having them work. Like I'm teaching my daughters. I teach them mindset. I teach them sales, how to sell. I teach them marketing. I'm helping them create a YouTube channel because I told my daughter Italia, you got to be bigger than Ryan's World. Like I want you to beat Ryan. Like I want to kick his ass. Like you're gonna be bigger than Ryan's World. We're gonna create this YouTube channel. You gotta get better at marketing. And then she's like, what's marketing? So I'm teaching her marketing is getting attention. This is marketing. You gotta become good in sales. So like I teach those things. Like I mentor my kids like if they're adults. So that's the way we're doing it. Yeah. And like I said, we're not perfect, but we're just not gonna fall into the matrix system. Like we're not gonna vaccinate our kids. We're not gonna fall into these traps. And also like I don't even think that I don't like what schools teaches kids because I didn't learn anything in school. Yeah. And a lot of these people, these mentors that I look up to that sold companies for $1 billion, they didn't go to school, most of them. They're college dropouts. And the ones that did go to school, they say that school didn't teach me anything that I use in business. So that's the way we treat our kids, and we're gonna find out. Like we're gonna find, like Italia, like Berlin will tell me Italia hit me, and I tell her, well, hit her back. Why are you telling me? Yeah. Like go hit her back, and then she's like, and then she goes and she hits her back, and then Italia's like, hey, she hit me back, and I'm like, well, why'd you hit her? So like things like that. But that's the way we raise our kids, and I think it's doing very good because they're very smart.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And talking about family, you guys, how many companies do you have again?
4. So 4 companies. So what people don't realize though is we started 7. Only 4 made it. Really? So I failed. You know, I had a lot of failures, but people don't see that. But yeah, we have four companies that are doing multi-millions each. Last year we did 30 million in revenue and top line with all our companies combined. And we started all our companies from scratch with 0 money. We didn't borrow any money from anybody. We don't have any partners. We just founded the companies, all companies, 100%. And then what we did is now we started giving some equity to some people that earned it. So we believe in giving everybody a piece of the company. Okay. But we started it from scratch. And so like I was the entrepreneur. And then we have a lot of intrapreneurs that the only difference is that they didn't have to start the company from scratch, but they think like entrepreneurs and they're part of it. And when we sell the company, they're going to get a piece of it. Or if we don't sell, they're going to start getting distributions. That's awesome. But it's four companies that we started from scratch.
So 4 companies, they all make multi-millions, correct? Mm-hmm. And you have a family. How many? You have 3 girls or
3 girls?
3 girls.
3 girls, all named after Ferraris.
I know. I love that, man. How do you, there's no such thing as balance when you have this kind of, caliber of like responsibilities. But if one thing that I do notice about your Instagram and everything, you always mention that family is everything. Mm-hmm. You always put your girls in the cameras. You guys are always together and everything. How do you like balance, if you want to say that, to be able to spend time with them and give them the time that they need? Do you have a schedule in that, or is it just kind of rolls as your days go by? How does that work for you and be able to run all these successful companies?
Well, you don't. I don't believe in balance. You just have to make it work. And like for example, I have to be in Vegas, so like I have a rule that I'm always with my family. So like that's why it's very expensive for me to go places, because like we're gonna fly private, and because I want to take my family with me. So it's not, to me, it's not about like, can you come to this event? Can you speak here? Can you speak there? It just has to be worth my time, because I'm gonna have to fly with my family. I'm gonna have to fly private, and and if not, like I don't like leaving my family behind. Like I think I work hard enough for that. Right. And what's very important for people to understand, that when you get to a certain level, you gotta only do things that are worth your hour. So we have a lot of help. We have around 16, 17 employees, maybe 19 employees if you count the people that we have in our house, because we have two nannies, two housekeepers, and they do a lot for us. So they do all the cleanup for us. The house is always clean. They take care of our girls. Like I said, security also. We have security. So when sometimes they bring our girls to the office, yeah, and then they send them back to the house, and we have a lot of help. So like for example, me, I haven't put gas in my car for I think over 2 years. Like I haven't put gas in the car. Like I don't put gas in the car. I don't make my protein shakes. I don't make my food. I don't waste time doing any of those things. And there's many more. I can go on the list. But what I did is you just fold the paper in half, and then you have to write down all the things that you're doing, because you can pay an assistant, you can hire more people to do all those things for you, so that you can only be doing money making activities. For example, you could do an interview, right? Right. But you're not really like besides you having experience doing interviews, I don't think you're an interview. You're not a professional interviewer. Neither am I. Right. But you have a business mindset. You're a business guy. You're an entrepreneur. So you ask better questions than a lot of the interviewers that do that for a living, because you're asking questions that are related to business, like things that you wanna learn, things that you think people are gonna learn from, and that's why you ask those kind of questions. You can be like, hey, I'm gonna have my assistant do this podcast with Albert, because your assistant's not gonna ask the same questions you're gonna ask. So this is an activity that only me and you can do. But you can delegate. You can have your assistant, hey, by the time this interview's done, this podcast is done, please make sure that you have my food, because I'm gonna be hungry and I want to eat. It saves you time. You don't have to order the food. You don't have to go pick up the food. You don't have to waste time doing that. But like copy, scanning, there's a lot of activities that you can delegate, and that'll save you so much time, so that you only do your high level activities. Like for example, after this, what if you go on the live for 1 hour and you're promoting one of your businesses? You're making sales. You're getting leads. So there's certain things that only you can do. You need an hour to work out, because people can't work out for you. Right. But there's certain things that only you can do. Only you want to spend some time with your family. Okay, only you can do that. So like I'm gonna delegate every single thing that is not worth my hour and that I don't have to do, so that I can focus my 18 hours that I'm awake in maximizing them. I'm a maniac with that. Like people will tell you, like, Albert's crazy. He'll do this, but he won't do that. Albert would spend like 30 minutes just chit-chatting, or an hour just chit-chatting, maybe having coffee or having a drink or whatever with this person, but then he wouldn't want to do this. Yeah, that's because I'm doing that with this person. I'm having a conversation with this billionaire, and I'm learning. But you got to maximize your time and make sure that your hourly worth is you're only sticking to whatever is worth your time and nothing else.
And that's I think the ultimate goal for anybody, especially myself. And I've been learning that, and I see a lot of the things that you and Patrick and everybody does to leverage their time. And I remember Patrick has a video that says, like, what are you worth and what does that cost you? You know what I mean? And yeah, whether it's an assistant, somebody doing it, I've taken that and I've ran with it. I did a shoot not too long ago, and I talked about having our housekeeper, and then I told Kim, my girlfriend, I was like, hey, it's time for her to start doing our laundry. Like, there's no time for it. Like, we don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
We don't have the time for this. We don't have the time for that. And it's giving us the ability to be able to do other things that makes us more progress, to be more successful and make more money. But what do you say to the people that are like looking right now and they're like starting off? Because you get a lot of people that come in here, they're already parents. They have 3 kids, 4 kids. They don't have stability. You know what I mean? And they have to make that sacrifice, right? And like, I look back and there's still some things that I can't do, that I feel bad that I just can't hire somebody to do it for me at this moment. But those people who just can't afford to have staff or nannies and all that, and they got to leave their kids with their husband, like, how does that work? How does that transition? Because there's a point where you still have to make a sacrifice, right? And how do you distinguish that? You know what I mean? Like, let's say if I came and I worked for you and I already had 2 kids, and I'm not making money right now, right? What would you say to that person who's starting off, who feels bad leaving their kids and all that?
Well, in the beginning, you have to do everything. And if, let's say, you're in a bad spot right now, you have kids, you're an employee, then you have to find a sister, a brother, a mom, a grandma, or somebody that's going to help you and take care of your kids for free. And you're going to have to put them through public school. You're going to have to do whatever it takes. And obviously, like, if you don't want to vaccinate your kids, then you're not going to put them in public school. You're going to have to figure something out. You're going to have to work harder, and you're going to have to grind it out. But you have to start from where you're at. And like, if I lost everything today and I didn't have any money and I couldn't afford a nanny, I know I'm sure my parents or my wife's parents can take care of our kids for free because we don't have any money. In return, that we'll pay them later. But I mean, people just they make so many excuses and they shut down very quick. Like, you guys have to ask questions, make some phone calls, figure things out. And people just don't think. I don't think people nowadays like to think. And it's not that difficult. Like, you could figure it out. Like, just like you're in a position right now where maybe you're struggling, there's people that have it worse, and people that have had it worse and became those 1%ers. So don't I mean, you're not that big, you're not that important. Like, you're just another person in the 8 billion population that we have. Like, there's people that have it harder. So like, just, you got to toughen up and you got to make shit happen. Do it for your family. That's why, like, I think the only thing I fear, I said it a few times, is to be broke again. So I know that, hey, it is my obligation to do more podcasts because more people will see me. There's going to be some people here that are going to see me for the first time when you air this out. And there's going to be people that I'm going to help. And like, if it means I got to stay here in the office longer, I will, because I never want to be in a position where I'm broke again, because I don't want to have that. I can't afford to do that. So remember that, hey, tough times are going to create the stronger people, the strong people. And then the good times, they create weak people. So if you're not in the position right now where you want to be, then it's up to you to get out of it. Nobody else. Nobody's going to get you out of it. You got to figure it out. I've been in really tough spots, and so have you.
Yeah.
And what's the difference? The people that don't quit, they move along and they win. But when you quit one time, it becomes easy to quit whenever it gets hard.
Have you ever thought of quitting in your journey of entrepreneurship?
Never. I've been close to being going out of business, but never quitting. Like, sometimes I'll get down, and I've gotten down and I feel like fuck, but I never felt like I've never felt like quitting. My only thinking when the times that have gotten tough are like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? What am I going to do? And most of the time it's just, you just got to change. You got to pivot. You obviously, what you didn't work. So now you got to pivot. And I'll tell you this quick story. I have a friend that drives a Bugatti, and we have Thursday nights where we go out to dinner, and everybody that goes out to dinner, they're all worth like 100 million plus. So we all go to dinner, and some are worth more than others. And I became friends with this guy. His name is Scott, and he's part of the group. And by the way, the guy that I'm talking about that drives a Bugatti, his name is Ted. So he goes by Ted Skilla. So I met Scott through Ted, and now Scott's my friend. So Scott's 67 years old. And Scott, he has a net worth of his company's worth about 275 million. And he has also a lot of real estate. So his net worth is probably going to be, up there, maybe $500 million, more or less, but he's 67 years old. And because he grew his company, he made money, he started buying real estate. But I was asking him, like, and I look at Grant Cardone, I look at Tony Robbins, I look at a lot of these successful entrepreneurs, like they became successful but old, and I'm like, damn, it really does take that long to make it. And this guy, he's 67, and what he shared with me is, he was telling me my whole life story. He was telling me my company. He's had his company for how long do you think? Take a wild guess. He's 67.
I don't know, 25 years.
Almost 40 years.
Yeah.
Almost 40 years his company, and now his company is worth around 275 million because he's worked so hard for so long time. And I was telling him, like, hey, so how was it? Like what? Because he came in here, I gave him a tour. We had a nice meetup. We went to eat, and he has his house is the biggest house in the hills here.
No shit.
So take a guess how big his house is. Here in the hills, Hollywood Hills, Bird Streets.
Okay, I'm gonna take a guess. 25,000 square feet.
His living space is 36,000 square feet. Wow. He has 40 cars in his garage. Yeah. So next level guy, right? So this guy Scott, and he looks so young. He doesn't look 67. And so him, I don't want to give too much personal stuff about him, but Scott, he was telling me, Albert, like the year 5, year 10, year 20, year 25, year 30, like like 4 times I almost went out of business, and I asked him why. And he's like, well, I was going out of business almost all the time. And I said, well, what happened? He's like, I would over leverage. I would pull out loans from here, max out my credit cards, borrow money from here, and all to put it back into the business. And I was like the master of leveraging to the max. So he would borrow so much money and overcommit to keep his business afloat and to grow his business. And sometimes 4 times he said he put himself in such a bad spot that it was like rolling the dice to see if you would go out of business or not. And he said also that going from when he was a mom and pop to a professionalized business, when you become corporate and everybody hates it and they're like, come on, bro, Edwin, but I started with you. I don't like this corporate thing. And because they don't think big enough. And you always go through these issues, mom and pop to becoming corporate. A lot of people get their feelings hurt. A lot of people don't grow at your level, at your speed, and they fall off, and then they become jealous, then they become envious, then they become haters. And then later on, they become fanatics. Later on, they're like, oh, I used to know Edwin. Oh, I used to know Albert. Yeah, I used to work for him. Oh, yeah, I used to travel private with Albert. Oh, yeah, I used to. And they become I used to people. But then you grow your business. So Scott was telling me, I went through all of that. And I'm like, damn, Scott, so you're telling me that what I've been through is normal. And I'm going to go through more. So I'm a pretty normal guy then. And he's like, yeah. And I tell him, and then when we finish everything, I'm like, fuck, 40 years it took him. And now he finally has that company. And I asked him, hey, Scott, what advice would you give me based on what you see? Because I showed him everything.
Yeah.
I showed him my books. I showed him like the money that we're making, everything. And he tells me, just keep doing what you're doing, Albert. You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm like, and then it was good because I brought Sil in and Sil heard everything. And Sil's like, shit. So we're on the right track. We're not that bad. Yeah. But that's business. It takes a long time. And and the people that will win are the people that are gonna endure the most pain for the longest. So that's business for you.
I love that. And it goes back to I think it was like 3 drivens ago that I made a switch in my mindset. I told myself, hey, I'm gonna hire more people. I'm gonna figure it out. It's gonna push me. And like I haven't washed cars in 2 years, and that's where I started off and everything. I invested into a gym, which hit 7 figures, by the way. We just opened up our 2nd location in Glendale. Awesome. And Congrats. Thank you. And it's all from the stuff that I've learned, and I remember I text Patrick like I think it was a couple months ago, and I said, hey, remember when I did that interview with you in 2018 and I told you that I was gonna hit 7 figures? I was like, well, I didn't hit it that year, but I just want to let you know that I hit it now. You know what I mean? Finally became companies that make $1 million, over $1 million, And going back to it, I remember being like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I just need to get close to the Alberts, the Watsons, the RDs, and all these people that I've met. And I just got to get really close to them and just see what they're doing. And I started to realize everybody goes through the same fucking problems. Everybody goes through the struggles. Everybody goes through the ups and downs. Everybody almost goes out of business. The difference is they just don't stop.
Yeah. Well, you can't go out of business if you don't stop.
Exactly. And like one at this last the business boot camp, RD's fucking speech, bro, blew me away. Blew me away because everything that he went through, people don't see it, and until you hear it and you go there, and that's what I go for. I go there for 2-3 things, and I go there to shake hands more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can see a lot of this stuff live, but to go there and to network, and since that boot camp, so much has changed in my life. So many deals that I've made. I mean, I had RD connect me with Crime like 2 days ago, the artist, you know what I mean? And he was at my shop and like connected me with this person and this, and here I am sitting with you. And it's all because of the decisions that I made to surround myself with individuals who are higher than me and just squeeze myself in there. I mean, for me to sit here and be like, some people might not understand how I got here, but how many texts did I tell you, hey, bro, you go on your podcast?
Yeah.
Like hundreds of them, bro. And you're like, yeah, why? Like, I know you see them, but I know you're busy. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to continue to ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. And finally, we're here. You know what I mean? But it was because I was like, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be in the fucking front row of it at his events.
But you know what you did that I did
What?
that people don't want to do?
What?
You paid the price. Like, how can I say no to you when you always get the best driven ticket? You invested in my coaching. Like, you invested in Wes Watson. You invested in RD. Like, most people don't want to do that. They just want to ask. And I had to pay a lot of money to Patrick, to Grant, to Brad, but that opened all the doors for me. And so, like, if you don't have money, get a credit card, borrow money, whatever, and pay people to get your ticket in. And I know it sounds like, man, but why can it be free? If you have so much money, why don't you do it for free? That's why people are successful and rich, because they collect money. Like, people are busy. And like, I'll tell you one thing, like when I invested in Patrick and Grant and all the money that I paid, I got 100 times a return on that. But people don't want to do that. Like, when you're investing in people, like, of course they're gonna invest in you, and you're not afraid to put your money where your mouth is. Like, you'll put the money there, and you're like, okay, and then you follow up. Most people don't follow up. Most people think, oh, I just paid, it's gonna fall on my lap now. You follow up till they buy or they die.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's exactly what I did. So, at the Driven Bootcamp, by the time I left on Sunday, I had bought coaching and mentoring $46,000, bro, in 2 days. I told my girl, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, my heart was pounding and everything, and I was like, I believe in this shit. I mean, like, I have never met so many individuals. I was talking to Eric, I was talking to Wes, I was talking to RD, I was talking to you, I was backstage. And I remember I don't remember what Driven it was where you had Andy Frisella.
Yeah. Driven 5.
I fucking told myself, we bought fucking cheap tickets that day. And I told myself and I told my team, never fucking again will I sit back here. You know what was back there? People drinking, talking about other shit, talking about, look at that fucking girl over there, like this and that. And I was just like honing in, but like I saw everybody shaking hands. And I told my team, this is not where we're supposed to be. We got to be in the fucking front. I was like, $5,000 shouldn't be shipped to us. And then we bought tickets. I remember that time I went, I was like, hey, I want tickets for all of us. It was like 20,000 something, right?
Yeah.
And I remember at that moment telling that individual, the person in your team, being like, hey, I'm going to buy tickets right now, but I want to be able to go to the after party. And they're like, well, you didn't buy tickets for this. I was like, I'll buy them right now. Just make it happen. She was like, all right, I got you into the after party. Because it was at that moment where I was like, I'm going to shake people's hands in that after party, because people think it's about the party. People think it's about the drinking. People think it's about, like, it's about the fucking relationship and the hands you shake. And RD and everybody always says, the more hands you shake, the more money you make, And it's just been a game changer for me. And that boot camp, I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to spend 45 grand and I'm going to fucking hone in on that shit. And I'm just going to take advantage. And like, you see me, like 3 weeks ago, I had a podcast with RD. Here I am with you. I was talking to Wes, and he was hitting me up about this car that he wants to buy. I joined his program, and it's like been a game changer for me. And I made already thousands of dollars in the last, what was the boot camp, like last month or something like that?
Yeah, like a month ago.
At least 10 grand already on things that changed my mind and advice that they gave me and the way I run my businesses. And I've noticed it, just like myself, at one moment, it was like you hesitate to be like, should I spend this? Should I do this? And it's like you said, that shit pays you tenfold, man.
Yeah.
And I just want to, leave out with this and just tell you, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate our relationship. I appreciate the ups and downs and what you continue to do. And I guess I just want to leave off with this. From your eyes, looking at me, from the driven one and everything that you've seen me, what have you seen the changes in me and that brings me here to sit down with you?
I think you cut people from your life that were holding you back. Yeah, I think that, and I also think that it relates to it, but now you value time even more. And those two things are very powerful. Cutting one person from your life can double your income, triple your income.
Yeah, I agree, man. And that's been it. But Albert, I thank you so much, brother, for your time and for everything. And I continue to see our growth in both of us, in our families, in our businesses and everything. And I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Keep kicking ass. Like you're doing great, and I'm really proud of you too.
Thank you, bro.